love, and I knew who I was, and I knew my purpose, all in a flash. I am an earthling. Earthling. And I love Earth, my home. Shortly after that, I got a call from Pete McCloskey, who was a congressman. And he said, Mark, have you heard about that oil spill in Santa Barbara? And I said, I read something about it, Pete. And he said, get down there right away. We're writing law back in Washington, and the oil spill has really sparked that. We're picking up on the work of Senator Henry M. Scoop Jackson, and we're going to have a National Environmental Policy Act, and it's going to pass. Partially as a result of the response across the country to the news of what happened in Santa Barbara. So I said, yes, I'll do it. I came here and found GOO in organization, Santa Barbara Citizens for Environmental Defense, the founders of the Environmental Defense Center subsequently, in action, in formation. And I was accepted because I was here to serve the earth. And Pete said, Mark, among other things, you need to go to Santa Barbara because the word coming out of Santa Barbara on the first anniversary has got to be wider than get oil out. We have an opportunity to ignite a whole movement, a new movement, to pick up where the conservation movement brought us to and expand. And that's where we are today, 50 years later. We're about to do the same thing. We're about to expand again. So one of the things we did in Santa Barbara in response to the spill was to organize ourselves into what became the January 28th Committee. Subsequently, that morphed into the Community Environmental Council. We asked Professor Rod Nash, a brilliant young history professor and an expert in environmental history, particularly on the environmental ethics of Aldo Leopold, to write a declaration, and he did. And it's beautiful. The Santa Barbara Declaration of Environmental Rights. At the time, it was styled on Thomas Jefferson's words, and it had the beginning of all men. Subsequently, Rod agreed that the term should be changed, and it's officially now, all people. All people. But it was a stylistic thing. And what he meant to say was all of us. I'd like to ask you, before we do what I'll explain in a moment is going to be, to just take a moment and stretch, inside, outside, stretch, stretch, yeah, oh, and look, and say to yourself, or out loud, I am an earthling. I am an earthling. I love Earth. Love is an action verb. This is a call to action. This is a call to action. That's why we're here. Love is the action that is needed now. Nothing less will do. Hope is not something to have. Hope is something to do. Hope is an action verb. Idle hope is a toxin. It is a pollutant. Beware of hope. It's time to come to center, come to our senses, come to that heart space, and recognize who we are. And who are we? We are Earthlings. Earthlings. Above all, we are humble Earthlings among the many other communities of life on this planet. We are not the masters of any of it. We are members of all of it. None of it belongs to us. We belong to all of it. Our call going forward is to work for a year together to come up with, on the 50th anniversary of the Declaration, which will be next year, another statement coming out of Santa Barbara. This time it will not be written by Rod Nash or any single individual. Rod Nash will be invited, is invited to participate with us, but we are here today to give you a preview of what we have to say going forward and what the word out of Santa Barbara will be in 2020. One of our poet laureates and my dear friend, Sojourner Kincaid Roll, has prepared what she calls a found poem. We'll proceed in accordance with her.
Thank you. First, do no harm. Do good.
We will infuse the law with love and behave ourselves accordingly.
We acknowledge the indigenous wisdom of countless generations of Shumish people in this place. And we commit ourselves to the indigenous values of reciprocity, of taking care of things, and making sure that we do a good thing. I'm going to look at my notes. We commit to ancient indigenous values of respect, generosity, reciprocity, and accountability within the human and non-human community, both seen and unseen.
Environmental and climate action must be rooted in all forms of social justice.
Indigenous justice and sovereignty.
Disability justice and gender justice. Racial justice and immigrant justice. Economic justice and ecological justice.
We must use and manage our resources responsibly and ensure that corporations and institutions are equally respectful to all.
We must ensure that all peoples have fair and equitable access to healthy food, clean air and water, healthy soil, and sustainable energy.
We must protect our marine resources, creating protected areas and strong fisheries. We must reduce our dependency on fossil fuels.
We must not compromise the future viability of the natural environment, human health, and ecological balance.
We must study both traditional indigenous ecological knowledge and Western environmental science.
We must promote practices that support ecological regeneration, regrowth, and peaceful coexistence with natural life support systems.
To help humans reach their rightful, humble place in our environment, we commit to supporting the environment.
With gratitude to those who came before us, we pledge to maintain a biodiverse community.
We stand together.
We stand together.
Together we pledge.
Together we pledge.
To work with purpose and integrity.
To work with purpose and integrity.
to ensure future generations enjoy a clean and healthy planet.
Thank you to all of you who just gave us that powerful reading of the new Santa Barbara Declaration of Environmental Rights preview. I'd like to ask you to remain on stage for a moment so that you can take a bow and wave as I read your names. Cosmale Lopez, Chumash Youth Leader. Art Cisneros, Chumash Elder. Amanda Pantoja and Cynthia Torres, UCSB Environmental Studies majors.